but still finding us an office.
Okay. Good afternoon. We're going to begin. This is a Board of Adjustment meeting for August 1st, 2024 for the city of Beaumont. We'll start by asking Ms. Smith to call the roll, please.
Chairman Timaeus is absent. Board Member Beaver.
Present.
Board Member Hilliard.
Present.
Board Member Rowe.
Here.
Board Member Sorrell.
Here.
Alternate Board Member Lucas is absent. Alternate Board Member Jones.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. The next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at those minutes?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Second. All in favor of approving the minutes, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes have been approved. The next item would be to swearing in of witnesses. So if you're here to speak for or against or for any reason on any item on the agenda, if you would stand up, and Ms. Smith will swear you in at this time.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank y'all. First item on our agenda is to consider a request for a variance to the minimum rear yard setback requirements in a commercial zoning district. Board members, we have a copy of the staff's packet on that, which we will, if there's no objection, we will enter into the record of the meeting. Thank you. At this time, we'll ask staff to give us a brief introduction on the item.
Good afternoon. This item was tabled at the July 11th, 2024 meeting due to absence of the property owner and applicant. Haney Tomei is requesting a variance to the minimum rear yard setback requirements for the property located at 3310 Concord Road. The property is zoned as general commercial multifamily, which requires a minimum rear yard setback of 15 feet. The applicant is seeking to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 15 feet to 5 feet in order to construct a new convenience store. Once the new store is completed, the existing building will be demolished. We did send out 10 property owner notices. We received 0 in favor, 0 in opposition. On your screen, the area outlined in red is the property under review. This is the subject property. And this is the setback they wish to reduce. And this is the site plan. So you can see on the screen, it is the eastern property line where they're wanting to reduce that, that setback from 15 feet to 5 feet. And we do have we have a representative on behalf of the applicant present.
Does anybody have any questions for staff? No? Okay, thank you. If the applicant's representative would come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and tell us what you want us to or need us to know about the application.
Hi, my name's Karen Warren. Some of you I've seen before. The address is 85 I-10 Frontage Road, Beaumont, 77707.
Thank you.
And I'm here just to mention that the project will provide store of higher quality and quantity and produce more taxes for the city because it's going to be a larger store. The project will improve aesthetics to the neighborhood so people in the area can shop in a more modern facility. It will bring value to the area and provide citizens with a better value. The setback again is 15, but we're requesting the 5. If you'll notice that the building is almost double in size, but it has to go to the back because you've got the canopy in the front. So, and we also didn't want to have customers without a place to shop while the building's being built in the rear. The store has current customers which will benefit and provide improvements to the north end area of town as well. So, do you have any questions of me?
Anybody have a question for?
I'm sure for the ACs, there's something that can go on the top of the building. This is just a site plan to find out whether or not, where the dumpsters and where other things are going to get located. Primarily, we were looking to make sure that we would get the variance for the setback. It is a commercial behind the property as well, so.
The air conditioners won't fit, so they'll have to encroach even more. That's exactly what's gonna happen. They're gonna put them there anyway, encroach the fence back, I'll bet you. Cause those big units won't go on the roof.
So, so even with the dumpster, how's the truck go get back in there to get the dumpster?
I don't think she's saying the dumpster's going to be behind the building, but
No, we're talking about AC units. He's
Units,
talking about,
yeah.
So there's room in the front for parking once the other existing building is removed. So
On each side.
dumpster could go on the side, even the air conditioning could go on the side. There still leaves a little room. You can also make adjustments to the building to make sure that there's not the AC or the dumpster in the rear while making the building a little smaller.
He go out.
Was there any thought? I don't know where that 7.2 feet, I don't know what that dimension goes to. I was trying to think, is that the distance between the building and the sidewalk or something? When you got 11 feet.
And I think some of it was due to parking and the room that you need for parking in the front once the existing building is removed. But again, this is, preliminary. If we have to make certain adjustments to the building or the location of it to move it, but still just get that 5-foot setback in the rear.
Is that?
So the parking spaces have to be, I believe, 9 feet in width and then 18 feet long. That's more so handled in the engineering department. But with that being said, I will speak to that, the AC unit. They could put it on the back if they wanted to. However, normally the AC units have the pavement that's poured for it, that slab. That slab does have to have a 2-foot offset from the rear property line. So if it were to get any closer than that, it would be another variance that would have to come before you guys.
any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, Karen. Is there any discussion needed, or is anybody prepared to make a motion?
Me personally, I see whether the air conditioners are at the rear or on the side, they're still gonna need that setback. Especially at the rear.
We're just pushing it closer to that other track. I mean, what's behind this?
Yeah, that's what I was just.
Can you
gonna
show us
ask.
an aerial view of it's just woods behind it? It's undeveloped, I think, right now. Oh, okay.
But it-
Undeveloped.
And behind the property line, it's undeveloped. The neighboring property currently is undeveloped.
Oh, okay.
Is that commercial behind?
It is zone commercial.
Zone commercial, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
And I think I said it, but I'll say it again, in case I did not. 0 in favor, 0 in opposition, but we did send out property owner notices.
So what you were explaining to us on the AC unit question, if the 5 foot's granted, the AC pad still has to have 2 foot.
Yes, and that's for drainage purposes.
Yeah.
That's fairly typical even on residential where you have them on the side.
Right. And I'm looking at this wing here, that could possibly be ideal for, you know, cause dumpsters have to be closed in.
That'd be fenced in.
They would have to turn in a building permit. At that time on the landscaping plan, they'll disclose where that dumpster is going to be. And then the traffic engineer reviews that to ensure that the flow will be right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they'll put it on the side. That's where a lot of them are. I mean, it will improve the area.
It will improve, yeah,
It's an older
Greatly, and
store.
I've shopped there a lot in, you know, in my commute down Concord. And the adjacent property, I think, is for sale. May make it attractive for another developer to come in.
Yeah, but you're just pushing it.
That is true.
That's all I got.
I will also add that, you know, if if a development were to develop on the on the east side of that line, their setback would be 5 feet. It's just, in this case, technically, it is the rear lot line. So it's not uncommon to be closer. It's just, you know, this is technically the rear lot line, which calls for in our ordinances 15 feet.
That information.
If the address was Pope, then it'd be a side lot, so it would be.
Yeah, and it would be different. We wouldn't be talking about it.
Right. Okay.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay,
I make a motion that we approve, file BZ 224-149,
179.
179.
It's a motion, is there a second?
I second.
The second. Ms. Smith, if you'll call the roll for a vote.
Board Member Beaver,
In favor?
Board Member Hilliard,
In favor?
Board Member Rowe, Board Member Sorrell,
Or,
alternate Board Member Jones.
or,
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is file number PZ 2024-181. This item was also on the last month's agenda and was tabled. This item is to consider a request for a variance to the minimum side yard setback requirements in a residential zoning district. We have the staff report, which we'll enter into the record, and we'll ask the staff to give us a report.
Yes, sir. Mr. Limbrick is requesting a variance to the side yard setback requirements for the property located at 2680 Dauphine Place. The property is zoned residential single family, which requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 5 feet. The applicant is seeking to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 5 feet to 0 feet to construct an open air carport in line with his existing brick fence. We did send out 19 property owner notices. We received 0 in favor, 0 in opposition. On your screen, the area outlined in red is the property under review. This is the subject property. And this is the area for the carport. And this is the submitted site plan. We do have the applicant present.
Does anybody have any questions for staff?
If I remember correctly, when we sort of kind of,
We talked about it.
yeah, there was some concern about encroachment.
The concern, I think, last month was that with a 0 setback, if the post or structure of the carport were right there at
Thanks for that.
at the
there,
fence line.
that the roof of the carport would actually overhang the property. So I'm hopeful the applicant will be able to talk to
Absolutely.
us about that.
Absolutely. Thanks for the refresher. That was it.
As the applicant, would you like to, if you would, come to the podium and state your name and address, and then explain what we need to know?
Well, my name is John Limbrick, and I live at 2680 Dauphine Place. in the Virginia estate, and I'm requesting a variance to have my carport to match up with my columns or line up with it. I'm in between an easement. I'm going to be having gutters to make sure that no waters go over. And also, as far as the overhang, that's something that I have to, I guess, ask for a variance, see if you guys, request me that.
I'm not sure we can grant you a variance to go over your property line, but
Yeah, but well, the way it looks like on my site plan, I don't see where it can be, I might can modify it, draw it up where it can go even with the carport, but I'm gonna have gutters to make sure that it's no overhanging water, so, going on the property. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Staff, could you go back to the, thank you. So, Mr. Limbrick, the entire brick wall that we're looking at with the small green tree in the front of it,
right.
is that where that's where you're proposing to do the carport, correct?
Yes, I'm gonna be coming off that, that column, which is, I'm looking at it well to my left. From that column there by that, black gate
Yes, sir.
to the end of the column, which would match out and it would leave me roughly 5 feet from my home to that gate. And from that column to the other column, I think would, to make my neighborhood look a lot better, it'll match up. That, what we're looking at on the side where that wooden fence is there, that's the easement of the city property. And that's 10 feet between me and 10 feet between my neighbor. So I can look and see to modify a little bit to make sure that we have no hangover, but to beautify my area and match, to keep things matched up for my neighborhood would be nice. And, by me having that school, which is Oldham School, is like on Virginia, have a lot of traffic pass on the side of my street there. And sometimes I have several vehicles that's in the way. So I'm taking it upon myself to get this carport built, and it's going to make sure that it's going to increase the value of my property, which would be good for Beaumont. So,
You could actually move it over to the first post instead of the second post. And I think it would give you the room you need without the problem of the overhang. You still keep your flower bed, you can still do everything, you just gotta move from that, instead of leaving that gate open, just have the gate underneath the carport. You pull up to the gate and you walk through the gate, move it over so it's closer to your house, but you can still have the room without a variance, without the overhang, because it's gonna have a considerable overhang. And then, it may not be these neighbors, but the neighbors that move in after may say, hey, I don't want that there anymore, or I don't like that, or, but it can solve
I
your
think very
problem.
positive. So
Yeah.
I don't see that happening because it's going to be something that's going to help my neighborhood out.
Oh, without a doubt, it's a beautiful home.
Thank
It's a
you.
beautiful neighborhood. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's a city easement.
An easement on the plat, but I guarantee you that landowner owns to your line.
Okay.
So an easement is not actually the city owning the property. The homeowner still owns the property. The city's easement grants the city the right to go in there if it's a utility easement, to
Right.
go in there and,
Right,
you know,
understand.
maintain a sewer line maybe, or a water line, depending on.
Yeah.
But the homeowner still actually owns the property.
Okay.
In other words, what they're saying, we can't have no water going over there,
That eaves, yeah, that eaves.
over to the other property owners. So, like Mr. Hilliard said, if you move it over to the second pole, your gate will be underneath it.
Yeah, well, the carport is gonna be 5 feet out from the flower bed, from the carport. So it's not gonna be a hangover on the fence, so.
I think the difficulty here is your request is to go from 5 foot, the standard side yard setback, to 0. And that's where we're struggling with. If it were to go from 5 foot to, say, 3 foot or something, so you could get a little closer, that is the type of request that we receive here. And, you know, if the circumstances are correct, has been approved in the past. But a 0 setback, to my knowledge, as long as I've been on the board, I don't know that we've ever granted a 0 going all the way to the property line. As, you know, we just, so with your, you know, the setback, for example, if it was your house, that would be from your slab, even though if you went up and your eave would be closer to the line than the slab. So that's kind of what we're talking about. If we granted you the 0, then that would allow that roof to be overhanging, and we don't think, I'm not sure that would be appropriate to the spirit of the
And the
intent of the
variance.
rules.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I need to come back a little bit, maybe.
Mr. Lindbrick, I have a question. Your site plan is showing a 2.5 foot setback from that
Property line,
property line. Is that the intention, or are you asking to get closer right there?
closer to the property line.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure if so if the post was going in at 2.5 feet and then your overhang maybe went to 0 feet. I was seeing if that was the situation, or if you're wanting your post to be at,
I'm interpreting the site plan, that 2.5 feet, to be to where his concrete for his slab and his driveway would be.
is that what? Okay.
Post outside of that.
Yeah,
Which would put the post almost on the property line, which then will give the overhang of the eaves
On the property line.
right on it.
Yeah. So, staff or legal, is it possible that we can make a recommendation for those stipulations?
The way that it was advertised is, and Tom, of course, you can override me here, but the variance to a minimum side yard setback requirements in a residential zoning district. So what was proposed was 5 to 0 feet. If we need to amend that, then we can always bring it back, if you're willing, to the next month to amend that, that request. I'm not sure if you have a timeline that you're wanting to meet, or if you would be agreeable to.
well, I mean, I'm flexible, I can do that, yeah.
I think, and y'all jump in, but if what I'm hearing is that, you know, if you would work with your plan and maybe work with staff and come back with something besides a request for a 0 setback, so that we can ensure that everything you're gonna do is gonna remain on your property, that would be more favorable for our consideration.
Yes.
Staff, if you don't mind, please go back to, I guess, the front. Yes, that one? Right, okay, yeah.
And I'd like to consider his thought is going by the first column. So I'm trying to see which one you're talking about when you say the first.
You have another picture of the house? There was this one.
That one?
Yeah,
So you said you want to match the columns. Well, that first column, which would be your left side, the first column to your left on the picture, I think, yeah. Okay. Start there. And that'll give you the space, because you had stated when we had asked that you were gonna go to that second column to your left. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So the columns that you wanna match up with, if you'll just, now it's gonna throw, you're still gonna need a wider space, but instead of putting a column there, put it there and just move it over. I mean, they won't exactly line up, but you know what I'm saying? It'll give you the space you need, and I mean, no one's gonna go, hey, I don't think those are lined up. You know, they're gonna say, wow, that's awesome.
Is your plan to construct these columns basically a brick column similar to what we're seeing in the picture?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's trying to match in.
he wants to match it
Wants to
completely.
match in.
That's where if that is right on your property line, then
So,
that's where the challenge will come up.
Yeah.
so they put that.
So can we table this to come back at next month?
If you tabled, you would have to make a motion to do so.
And
But yes, it's possible as long as y'all make a motion.
when it came back next month, it could be for a different,
It can. We would need to work with Mr. Limbrick to make sure that we're bringing the right request to you guys and make sure that that's in the record for the staff report.
Yes.
right, it's something that more clearly shows where your post and where your roof line would be helpful for us to be able to really.
If he asks for.
Are those services available to Mr. Lindbergh through
To
staff?
discuss? Yeah, absolutely.
I make a motion to table PZ 2024-181 until Mr. Lindbergh and staff bring that back to us.
A second?
Okay, if you would call the roll. Joey?
Yeah, I know that. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Acting Chair Beaver,
I'm in favor.
Board Member Hilliard,
4?
Board Member Rowe, Board Member Sorrell,
Or
alternate Board Member Jones.
Or,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and he's right, it is
Yeah,
crazy
okay.
getting his original driveway, during pickup, from, I can't think of the church that's right at the corner. And then, like you said, the school, and they almost let out.
that's it.
So
And
that's
he'll
really
be
beautiful.
He just can't match up with that column.
But I agree, I definitely wanna see some. Right, I wanna see some.
We'll let them figure it out and see if they can come back with it.
He just can't match up.
Okay, we have one more item on the agenda today. That is file PZ 2024-186 to consider a request for a variance to the minimum front yard setback requirements in a residential zoning district. We have the staff report, which we'll enter into the minutes record, and then let staff introduce it to us.
Right. Randall Dry is requesting a variance to the minimum front yard setback for the property located at 580 Parson Drive. The property is zoned residential single-family that requires a minimum front setback of 25 feet. The covered porch was constructed in 2022 without the benefit of an approved building permit. The property owner is now seeking a permit post-construction, which revealed that the cover does not meet the minimum front setback requirements. The property owner is seeking to reduce that setback from 25 feet to 23 feet to allow for the covered porch to remain. We sent 33 property owner notices. We received 0 in favor, 0 in opposition. On your screen, the area outlined in red is under review. This is the subject property. That's the covered porch. And this is the site plan submitted. We do have the applicant present.
Okay. Do you have any questions? If the applicant would come to the podium and state your name and address, and if there's any additional information you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear from you.
Randall Dry, 580 Parsons Drive. I'll read my little letter that's also included in the information I give. Good afternoon. I respectfully request consideration be given to granting me a 4-foot variance to the minimum front yard setback requirements in a residential zoning district at 580 Parsons Drive. In 2022, I built a 4-foot by 15-foot lean-to design rain cover over the entrance of my front door. I purchased the residence in 1973. after serving in the United States Army Airborne, and it has been my residence since that time. When I built the cover, I was not aware that a permit would be required for the construction of the rain cover. I was made aware of my mistake when I had my home completely re-roofed in March of 2023. After the new roof was certified, I was informed by my insurance company that my windstorm insurance was not going to be renewed because there was no permit on file for the construction of the rain cover. Excuse me. It was when I applied for a permit that I was informed that the cover exceeded the minimum setback. My measurements to locate my property line was based on a common street right-of-way of 50 feet, which would have placed my door cover 1 foot within the legal zone. However, the Parsons Drive street right-of-way uses a 60-foot street right-of-way. As such, the rain cover support posts are 21 feet from my property line, and according to Beaumont code, 25 feet is the allowable minimum distance. Therefore, I'm asking for a variance of 4 feet into the minimum setback zone. Just as a comparison note, the house at 550 Parsons Drive, which is 2 houses south of my residence, had an attached 15-foot carport constructed a number of years back. I don't know if a variance was granted in that construction.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Do you know, so I think I heard different numbers. The request is to grant a variance, and it's to go from 25 feet to 23 feet. And as far as you're aware, that'll satisfy the requirement for the existing cover.
Yeah, so in the letter submitted to us, it looks like he put 23 feet. But this is on a curve. This is on a curve, so I would have to get in and measure with my GIS or go out there and walk the distance, but going with what he submitted in the very beginning, I think 23 feet should suffice. Should it not, then we can always bring it back as a new variance request. But going with the original submittal, it should be okay.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve file BZ 2024-186.
A second.
A motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, I'll ask Ms. Smith to call the roll for a vote.
Acting Chair Beaver,
Fort?
Board Member Hilliard,
4.
Board Member Rowe, Board Member Sorrell,
Or
alternate Board Member Jones.
For it.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the items we have. If there are no other business, we will be adjourned.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Now that the variance has been approved, will I go ahead and request inspection of that carport?
She'll be happy to help you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank